Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into a case study you shared with us on volcanic risk management, specifically the whole escalating crisis at Dante's Peak.
It's a fantastic case study.
Right, and our mission is pretty clear. Let's unpack the progression of this geological threat, but also the human side of it, the denial, the economics, that just made everything so much more complicated.
It really is the perfect storm of science versus, well, commerce. The whole thing hinges on this one volcanologist, Harry Dalton, and he's not just fighting a volcano, he's in this conflict with the local mayor, Rachel Wando, and even his own boss, Paul Dreyfus.
And it's all happening in the Cascades in Washington, which, I mean, you hear that and you immediately think of Mount St. Helens in 1980. It's got that real-world gravity.
It does, and the source material we're looking at, it's based on that 1997 story.
Yeah.
With Pierce Brosnan as Dalton and Linda Hamilton playing the mayor.
So the central question for us and for you listening is pretty chilling. It's how many warnings does it actually take? How much evidence do you need before science finally beats denial? Okay, let's unpack this.
To really get it, you have to start with Dalton himself, his motivation. He's not just some scientist in a lab. He is deeply driven by a past tragedy.
This is with his girlfriend, Marianne.
Yes, in South America. She was killed by falling rock during an eruption. And that loss, it just fuels this intensity in him. He is dead set on preventing that from ever happening again.
So it's personal. And that personal drive is what brings him to Dante's Peak in the first place, right?
It is. The U.S. Volcano Office sent him because their equipment, way up in space, picked up that the mountain was subtly moving, just a tiny bit.
But on the ground, the town's leadership, especially Mayor Wando, they're not thinking about subtle movement.
Oh, not at all. They are focused on one thing, being named the second best town in America.
And the money that comes with it?
Exactly. A massive $18 million investment from a businessman named Elliot Blair. He wants to build a big winter holiday center. So the last thing she wants to hear is that her beautiful, stable mountain might be, a risk.
That economic pressure, it just creates the perfect breeding ground for denial. But the mountain, it wasn't staying subtle for long.
No. And what's so fascinating here is how quickly Dalton finds actual physical proof. We're not talking about satellite data anymore. We're talking about evidence that moves this from a minor tremor to a real, immediate, and fatal threat.
And that starts with that tragedy at the warm lake just behind the town.
Yes. This place was famous for being warm, but it suddenly becomes scalding hot. Then a small earthquake hits and all this superheated gas just explodes into the water.
And 2 people died.
2 visitors.
Yeah.
They were found face down. And that's not a tremor anymore. That's the first real sign that magma and gas are interacting with the groundwater.
So that event, that terrible event, pushes Dalton to look for other chemical signs. He goes to another lake nearby, right? A cold one near a woman named Ruth's house.
And this is the critical step. His gear immediately shows that the water has way too much acid in it.
Which sounds bad, but what does that actually mean in this context?
It's a geochemical fingerprint. It's not just pollution. It means volcanic gases, sulfur compounds from rising magma deep underground, are seeping up through the rock and dissolving into the water. It's a direct chemical link to the volcano's core.
And he also sees the dead trees.
The dead brown trees all around the water. That plus the acid. It's definitive proof. It's why Harry says the volcano is just sleeping, not dead, even though it hadn't blown in 7,000 years.
At the same time, his team is setting up their equipment.
Right. His colleagues, Terry, Stan, Nancy, Greg, they get their sensors up and running, and the data just starts pouring in.
And what's it showing?
Small earthquakes, but a staggering number of them. We're talking between 25 and 75 of them every single day. And individually, they're not dangerous. You might not even feel them. But that volume that tells you a massive amount of energy is building up right under their feet.
So this all leads to this incredibly tense town meeting. Harry lays it all out, the dead swimmers, the acid in the lake, the constant quakes, and he tells them people need to be ready to move.
And you can just imagine the reaction. A businessman, Les Worrell, he just immediately pushes back. He says a warning like that, the panic. It would completely destroy any chance of getting that $18 million investment.
It's the cost of panic versus the potential cost of disaster.
The known cost versus the unknown. And right into that mess walks Paul Dreyfus, Harry's boss.
You'd think he'd back his guy up, the expert on the ground.
You would think. But he does the exact opposite. He completely undercuts Harry in front of everyone. He says Harry is too excited, that he's always afraid because of what happened to Marianne.
He weaponizes his trauma against him.
He does. He's protecting the institution, his own authority, over the raw data that's staring him in the face. He tells the town leaders, don't say anything to other people in the town. It is a deliberate cover-up.
And almost like a response, the mountain provides its own rebuttal.
Oh, it does. They send a robot, this machine, inside the peak to get more data. Terry, one of the scientists, is climbing down with it when a really strong earthquake hits.
And a rock falls.
A huge rock. It falls on Terry and the robot, breaks his leg badly. The mountain literally fights back. It proves the instability is active, and it's dangerous right now.
You would think that's it. A man on your team is in the hospital. The debate has to be over.
But Dreyfus just digs in deeper. He says they'll leave in 2 more days. He actually says Terry was unlucky, that's all.
Unlucky.
He's still clinging to denial, even when it's absurd. The cost of admitting he was wrong, in his mind, is still higher than the risk of a catastrophe.
But that calculation doesn't hold for long.
No, because the final signs, the ones you just can't ignore, they start coming thick and fast.
It's when Harry and Rachel find the town's water supply.
Yeah, they drive 8 kilometers up the mountain, and the water is running all brown, just thick with volcanic material and surrounded by gas. The entire groundwater system is contaminated.
And back at the hotel, the equipment is going crazy.
The quakes are much stronger now. They're consistently hitting 2.3 or 2.4 on the scale. Nancy, one of the scientists, she just looks at the readings and says it plainly. This mountain is ready to explode.
And that, finally, is what it takes for Dreyfus.
Finally. He authorizes Mayor Wando to tell people to get ready to leave. But it's just too late.
Rachel is at the school trying to make the announcement.
And the whole building just moves.
Yeah.
A massive quake hits, the volcano erupts, and this enormous plume of dark lava, ash, and gas just shoots into the sky.
And Dreyfus realizes.
He realizes. He knows Dante's Peak is going to be far more dangerous than Mount St. Helens.
In that chaos, the eruption, it immediately claims the lives of the very people who fought the warnings the hardest.
It's the ultimate irony. A helicopter is there to evacuate people, but it can only take 11. The businessmen, Elliot Blair and Les Worrell, they think their money can save them.
They pay the pilot
$15,000 each. A $30,000 bribe to get on that helicopter.
And it was a ticket straight to their deaths. The helicopter's too heavy. It flies right into that thick ash.
And the engines just fail. The ash is like sandpaper. The chopper crashes right on Exeter Street and explodes. All that money, all that denial, it ends in a fireball. Physics always wins against finance.
And what about Dreyfus, the man who enforced the denial?
His fate is just as ironic. He's trying to escape in his truck with all his precious, expensive scientific equipment in the back.
The equipment he was trying to protect.
Exactly. And a lahar, this massive flood of water, rocks, and trees, just sweeps down the river and carries his truck away. He's gone. His decision to protect the data over the people cost him absolutely everything.
So from there, it's just a desperate race for survival for Harry, Rachel, and the kids. They have to get away from Ruth's house,
which is just consumed by this river of red lava. They manage to get into a boat on her lake, but the very science that Dalton warned them about becomes the weapon.
The acid.
The acid. When the hot lava hits the lake, that high acid content starts eating through the metal boat. It even dissolves the engine.
Which leads to Ruth's sacrifice, an absolutely heartbreaking moment.
The boat stops just maybe 5 meters from the shore. And she knows what she has to do. She steps out into that burning acid water and pushes them the rest of the way.
Just to save them.
And she dies just after they get to land. She tells Rachel, "My son didn't know you, Rachel. You're good. I want you to be happy." An incredible act.
But they're still not safe. They're blocked by another lava flow.
And it's Rachel's son, Graham, who saves them. He remembers an old mine they had visited, and he suggests they use it as a shelter.
And they make it just in time to escape the pyroclastic flow.
The single most deadly thing in an eruption. This cloud of hot ash and rocks moving at hundreds of miles an hour. Harry floors it and drives the truck right into the mine, just seconds before it hits.
It saves their lives, but Harry gets badly hurt trying to get the radio.
He does. Broken arm, hit on the head. But getting that radio, that one last act, is what ensures their rescue. They're found 2 days later, after the mountain finally quiets down.
So when you strip away all the action, the story of Dante's Peak is this incredibly powerful lesson, isn't it? It's about the catastrophic cost of ignoring science when business interests are on the line.
Absolutely. The final cost wasn't just the lives lost, the swimmers, Dreyfus, the investors, Ruth. It was the total destruction of the town and that $18 million future they were so desperate to protect. By trying to avoid the financial hit of an evacuation, they guaranteed a total financial apocalypse.
So what does this all mean for you as you analyze these kinds of situations? It means that those early, seemingly small details, the acidic water, the subtle quakes, a single tragedy, that's often where the most valuable data is hiding. You have to learn to see the signal through the noise of economic promises.
Dalton gave them clear, escalating proof. But the leadership, the community, they just weren't willing to accept the reality until that reality was literally falling on their heads. The cost of being prepared seemed too high, but the cost of denial was absolute.
Which leaves us with a final thought for you to take away. If those town leaders, so focused on that $18 million investment, had instead chosen to invest just a fraction of that in an immediate staged evacuation plan right when those first two swimmers were found, could they have saved everyone? And maybe even saved the town and the possibility of that investment for the future? It's a powerful question about foresight versus fear.